Hello everyone, welcome to another video in the Deploying MindsDB series. In this video, we will be deploying MindsDB on an IBM cloud instance. So let's get started. Well, first things first, so you will be needing an IBM cloud account. So you can simply head over to www.ibm.com/cloud and then you can click on this get started for free to sign up for a free cloud account. So once you are signed up, you can simply navigate to your dashboard, which should look something like this. So once you are here in your dashboard, we have something here called create resource. So I'll click on this create resource now. So this opens up the resource catalog for you. So as you can see here on the left panel, we have something called compute. So I'll click on this compute now. And from the list that appears, I will click on this virtual server for VPC. And in the next page, we will have the configuration that we want to use for the server. So coming over to this page, virtual server for VPC, the first thing we want to select is the server type. So I will keep it at Intel, and then the hosting type will be public. Then for the location, and the geography should be closer to the actual physical location you are located in. So for me, it is Asia Pacific, and the region I have selected is Sydney. Then for the zone, I have Sydney 2. Then I can click on this cross icon to collapse this. Then the next thing is the details. So you have to provide a name of the server. So I will say MindsDB. And then we haven't created any other resource group. So the resource group will be default. Then we don't need to provide any tags. Also, we don't need to provide any access management tags. Then coming to the operating system, the image, we will change it to Ubuntu. So it will be Ubuntu Linux, and the version is already the latest one, 2204. So I'll keep it as it is. Then coming to the profile, we want to change this specification. We'll go for a powerful machine. So what I will do now is I will select something, say this one, BX2 4x16, and I will say save. So yeah, so we have changed this one. And then for the SSH keys, it says that we don't have any SSH key. So here I have created one already. So I can simply check this box. So if you are not sure how you can create one, then simply what you can do is you can click on this create key button over here. And then the create key button opens up. Here you can provide a name. So what I will say, SSH key 2, and then the resource group will be default and the tags will be empty. Access management tags will also be empty, and here we need to paste the public key. So how you can get a public key is that, so you can simply open your terminal and here you can type ssh-keygen and you can hit enter. So this will generate a public private key for your machine, and here it is asking the file name for the key. So I will say something like another SSH key, and I will hit enter again. Then it is asking me for the passphrase. So I want to keep it empty. So I will simply hit enter, and I have to hit enter again to confirm it. Now the key pair is generated. So if you want to locate this key, so it will be available on this location. So you can simply head over to this location to check the key. So what I will do now is I will go to that location, and here you can see these are the key that we just generated, another SSH key. This is the name that we provided. So this one is your private key and this one is your public key. So let us change this name so that we are not confused. I'll say underscore pub and I'll save it. Now what you want to do is you will copy this one. You'll open the public key, then you'll copy this key. And then we'll go back to the dashboard, and here in the public key space we'll paste it, and then what we want to do is we'll click on this create to save this key. So I say create, and it is creating the SSH key for us. So now we got the message that the key was requested for use. We can close this one. and we are good to go. So here now, if you click on this drop down, you will have two SSH keys, right? So what I want to do is I'll say that I don't want to use the previous SSH key, rather than I'll just use the new SSH key for this one. So I am using this SSH key 2, and then coming to the additional options, we don't want to paste any user data here. And then for the metadata, we don't really need to enable it. And for the host failure auto restart, it is auto enabled, so we'll keep it as it is. So what it does is, during host failure, auto restart will automatically move the virtual server to a healthy host. So we'll keep it enabled. So the next thing here is the placement group. We don't need to check this one. We don't want to add it to any placement group for now. And then coming over to this boot volume, we have this volume name, then we have the size, then input output, and the bandwidth. So everything is mentioned here. So I want to change this name. I want to remove this digit. So what I will do, I'll say it's MindsDB demo boot only. So I'll clear this out and I'll say save. So it looks kind of clean now without that number. And then what we want to do is, we are not creating any data volume, so we'll just have the boot volume. And here for the networking, we have this default VPC selected for us. We haven't created any other VPC, so we'll use this default one. And then for the network interfaces, we also have this default subnet mentioned over here, so we will keep it as it is. And now towards the right, you can see the cost estimation. The total cost will be this much per month. And when you are trying IBM Cloud for the first time, probably you will be getting this banner at the top where you can use this code VPC 1000 to get 1000 USD in cloud credits. So I have already applied it once. So if you haven't applied, then you can copy this and you can paste it here and you can say apply, and it will get applied. So now what I want to do is I'll click on this create virtual server to start provisioning it. So let's do that. It will take a while, so let's wait. Okay, so as you can see now, the status is running, so the instance is ready to be worked upon. And one more thing what we want to do here is, we want to check the MindsDB GUI, right? But here we don't have any public IP address assigned. So if you go to the MindsDB demo, the server details page also, here as you can see, we don't have anything mentioned about the public IP address that we can use. Okay, so we want to attach a public IP address so that we can use the MindsDB GUI later. So what I want to do here is, I will say I want to add a floating IP. Okay, so I'll click on this edit now, and in this edit network interface, what we want to do here is, for the floating IP address, I'll click here and I'll say reserve a new floating IP. So what it does is, floating IP is something that you can switch between the servers. Okay, so you can suppose I am attaching this IP to this server at this moment, but at a later stage, if I have some other server running and I want to use this IP, then I can detach it from here and then I can go and attach it over to the other server. So it can float between the servers. So that's why the name is floating IP, and generally it is a public IP that we can access from the internet. So I have said that, okay, reserve a new floating IP, and I'll say save. So give it a moment and then you will be able to see a public IP address displaying over here. So this is the public IP address that we got for this instance. So now what we want to do, we want to log into this machine and we want to start installing MindsDB inside it, right? So now we will open up our terminal and then we will SSH into the machine using the private key that we just generated. So the command will be SSH-I another SSH key followed by the username. So this will be root @ Now we will copy this floating IP and we'll go back to the terminal and we'll paste it here. So the command is SSH-I then another SSH key. So this is generally, I am in the current location only, so C users. So that's why I just provided the name of the key. So if your terminal is open at a different directory, then you have to provide the full path to the private key, followed by the username at the rate the public IP address of the server. Now I will hit enter. So it is asking whether we want to continue connecting. We will say yes and hit enter again. So now, as you can see, we are logged in as the root user for the instance MindsDB demo. So we are now ready to start installing things inside the server. So the first thing we want to do here is install Docker. So let us do that. But before that, we will try to update the package indexes present in the Linux machine. So for that, we will do apt get update and we will hit enter. Okay, so the indexes are updated now. So the next thing we want to do is install Docker. So I'll say apt get install docker.io and I will hit enter. This will take a while, so let's wait. It is asking me to continue. I will type Y and I will hit enter again. Okay, so Docker is installed now. So the next thing we want to do is check whether Docker is running properly or not. So we'll run the Docker hello world. So I'll say Docker run hello world. So if Docker is running properly, then we should get the hello from Docker message. So as you can see here, we got the hello from Docker message here. So Docker is working properly. So the next thing we want to do now is pull the latest stable release of MindsDB. We can do that by this command docker pull MindsDB / MindsDB and I will hit enter now. So this will take a while. So let us wait till the pull is complete. Okay, so the pull is complete now. So the next thing that we want to do is run MindsDB. So we will do that using Docker. So the command will be docker run -p. So p is for specifying the ports. So here in this command we will be exposing two ports. One is for the HTTP API, which will be used by the MindsDB GUI, and the other one will be used by MySQL API for the data transactions. So the first port will be 47334. So this one is for the MindsDB GUI. Followed by the other one, I will say -p again, and it will be 47335. Then we will specify what we want to run. It will be MindsDB / MindsDB. So the command is docker run -p, the port for HTTP API, then -p again, the port for MySQL API, followed by MindsDB. So now let's hit enter. It will take a while to start. So initially we'll get messages like the HTTP API, MySQL API and MongoDB API are starting. So as you can see here, we got the messages that the APIs are starting. And then below here, as you can see, we got the message that they have started on this port. So this is for MongoDB and this is for MySQL, and the HTTP API has started on this one. So the next thing we want to do is explore the MindsDB GUI. So we will minimize this terminal. Okay, so now we'll copy this floating IP address. We'll open a new tab. We'll paste this IP address there, followed by a colon and the port number 47334. And we'll hit enter now. Damn, so we are not able to access the GUI. So did we do something wrong? Nah. So what IBM does is it doesn't have a default firewall rule that allows the ingress traffic to connect with the port. So now what we want to do is we'll go to the security list for the firewall and we'll add a default rule to allow this traffic. So let's close this tab now. And we'll go back to this instance details page, and here what we want to do is we will click on the security groups, and then here you can see we have 3 inbound rules and 1 outbound, and there is something called manage rules. I will click on this manage rules, and here in the inbound rules I will say I want to create another rule. So I will click on this create, and the protocol will be TCP. So the port range will be from 47334 to 47335. So these are the two ports I want to enable. So the source type can be any. We don't want to specify a specific IP address or a CIDR block or a security group. So any IP address can, connect with this port. So now I will say create. So it is creating the rule, and it should take a while to be enabled for this server. So the rule is created. So let us give a little bit of time, and then we will try to access the GUI once again using the public IP. So let us go back to the instance details page. So this is our instance details page. And here let's copy this floating IP once again. Now we will go to the new tab and we will paste it there. And then we will say colon 47334 and we will hit enter now. Okay, so now as you can see, MindsDB GUI is loading. We should be able to access it now. So let us wait. So the MindsDB GUI has loaded finally. As you can see, there are three main parts on this UI. So the first one at the top, here we write the queries, something like this. So this is the query editor. And when you click on this run, then the result is displayed in this bottom panel. So this is your result viewer. And towards the right, we have the learning hub. So this is for anyone who is just getting started with MindsDB. They can use the resources here to learn more about MindsDB. So the next thing we want to explore is the default table list that is present in MindsDB when we launch the MindsDB instance for the first time. So I have already written the query for that, show tables. Now I will run this one. So this has returned the list of default tables that are present. So there are three tables. The first one is predictors. So what predictors table does is it stores the list of all the predictor models that we train as an individual record. And the next one is the predictors versions. So when we retrain a model because of any data change, or if we want to change any underlying candidate models for that, then the versioning for that specific model occurs. And this predictors versions table stores all the available versions for a particular predictor model. And we have the ability to switch between these versions as per our needs. And the last one is the databases table. So this table stores the list of all the databases that are connected with this current MindsDB instance. So these are all the tables that are present by default, and we have successfully deployed an instance of MindsDB on an IBM cloud server now. So it's time to summarize. Initially, we signed up for an IBM cloud account. Then we created an IBM cloud compute server. Then we installed Docker in the server. Then we used Docker to install MindsDB. Then we specified a firewall rule to allow the ingress traffic for MindsDB. Then we explored the MindsDB GUI. And finally, we explored the default tables that are present when we launch the instance for the very first time. I hope you had a great time watching this. So drop a like, subscribe to the channel and do share it with your friends. And before you leave, don't forget to drop a like on the MindsDB GitHub repository. Thanks for watching this video and I'll see you in the next one.